Alright.
Turn around, fuck it all the way up. Bust it down, turn around, fuck it all the way up. Bust it down, turn around. Look, let's get it straight, girl. You don't need a nigga for nothing. No bitch coming up to you as a woman. Hey, and you a boss, so you hate when niggas waste time. You too pretty to be paused on a FaceTime. Now you relax.
What the fuck you mean relax?
You want something more than just physical. It's been a while since you met someone original. You spend your time drinking wine in your living room. All that good pussy can't find the one to give it to. You know how to make a bitch mad, don't you? Make your ex wanna get it back. That's a fact. Say it louder for the bitches in the back. Hey.
I know how to go and get a bag, don't I? I know how to get a bitch mad, don't I? Make my ex wanna get it back. That's a fact. Say it louder for the bitches in the back. Hey. Wednesday.
It's Woman Crush Wine Wednesday.
Yes. Let's start off being honest, because it's the holidays. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. We posted a poll, a question on our story. Crickets.
Crickets.
I know you're home. What else are you doing?
And I know you don't know anything about wine.
So you're just drinking.
It's fine. You know what?
That's rude.
We'll just make the content ourselves and we'll give it to you, just like every other. Making us work so damn hard.
Yes, but
We're coming at you from a new set. Quiet on the set.
Very quiet.
Jay immediately follows up by Jamaican Airports.
We have reworked our apartment for you to bring you just some pleasure.
Yeah. There's also not a lot to rework, so.
There isn't a whole lot.
We have a tiny little Christmas display, no tree yet, but we're getting there.
We're getting there. Yeah, so we are back at it, not with a varietal, but with a region, a valley, a place, a concept, a thought. All right, so we are coming at you with the pepper jack. Hit you with that pepper jack, Barossa Red Blend, 2014. Yeah, sexual eruption. Oh.
It's an eruption, all right.
All right. And I didn't know that this wine was actually in the portfolio of my employer, not the.
I just aged
Redacted. But yes, so we actually went to Australia, the longest flight I've ever had in my entire life.
I was not there. I went to Australia separately.
And how long was your flight?
My flight, we went from Hong Kong to Australia. So it was, you know what? I have no recollection.
I was drunk on the plane.
I'm not gonna lie to you. They gave me a glass of champagne as soon as I sat down and it was over.
Our flight, and I'll never forget, was 17 American hours.
It was.
Okay.
A plane should not be able to fly for that long.
We visited Australia with hopes and dreams of going to a winery.
Yes, and we were sadly mistaken to find out how fucking chunky, how much of a big bitch Australia is.
Australia is really big.
It's really big.
You know what? The map is not correct in showing you
You're
the
right. It's very
side.
Eurocentric.
It's very Eurocentric.
But we went to Melbourne first and then Sydney.
Melbourne.
And we Sydney.
Sydney.
And
Melbourne.
wait, say no.
No.
No, honey.
No.
No.
And we were like, we're just gonna go to all of these wineries in Adelaide, not knowing that it was a smooth 8 hours away from where we were. So we didn't get to go.
We didn't go.
But it's okay, because we're saving that for a rainy day. You know, all three of us get to go. So we are excited.
Yes, we are.
So this is from the Barossa Valley, which, as we said, is in Adelaide, which is one of the, it's like 5, 5, 8, quién sabe. A number of states in Australia, and this is the southernmost state. We'll put a little map. And Barossa Valley is in the northeast region of Adelaide. So, yes, so the Barossa Valley is one of the world's oldest and most premier wine valleys, comparable to Napa Valley in terms of just the wine production and how it's seen in the world. It's known primarily for Shiraz.
Yes,
Nice.
as well as Riesling, Semillon, Grenache, and Cab Sauv. So they got a bunch of different grapes that are able to grow there.
Yes, and because of the warm climate, they do a lot of late harvest, so they're actually also known for a lot of their fortified wines.
And fortified wines have to do with wine that after you have, you know, demusked, is that the right word?
Yeah,
Demusked.
demusked. She's no longer
I love a
musky.
good demusk. After you demusk those grapes and, you know, you have just the juice, it's adding yeast or sugar or even a spirit to the wine so that you can get a higher alcohol content. So they age that with the yeast and the sugar in there. And you see that a lot in dessert wines and in ports that have a higher alcohol content.
Yeah, I've actually never had a fortified wines, and I hate ports and sherry. I'll say it right now.
I'll say it.
And first of all, it burns with every sip.
It burns.
It's not enjoyable for
It's
me.
like it's like Fireball without the college drunkenness. You know what I'm saying?
And
like
then to end a meal on that,
to end a meal on this.
Maybe I need a more sophisticated
Maybe I need like $5 million on me, and then I'll be like, you know what? Yes, the cherry.
but the warm climate actually benefits these grapes because they're able to sit there and get more
Yes.
jammy, get more sugar in them, and then in turn be able to create more alcohol content.
Yes,
in
and
that
remember
wine.
from prior videos that the sugar is directly related to the alcohol, baby. So late harvest means that they've had time to grow in the sun and they have the highest sugar content. So this one is actually 15%, which is pretty high for a red blend. The Barossa Valley also produces Shiraz that's selected by Penfolds winemaker to make Grange. So Grange is one of those, I think if I remember the story correctly, he kind of came up with this varietal. He was, you know, playing around like an artist, like a winemaker, and he came up with Grange, and it literally retails for fucking $500 a bottle, a pop. And he specifically chooses this region to source his grapes from because that's how poppin' Barossa Valley is with their Shiraz on that ass.
I like that.
This may be a stupid.
I'm ready for it. I mean, no questions is stupid.
So like when they say like retail price,
Yeah.
so that's like in a wine store.
Right.
Yes.
So not necessarily not being resold in a bar.
Okay,
Yeah.
and not like wholesale or like that's in a wine
Right.
store for a single bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
$500.
And Penfolds, it's so funny, Penfolds actually has, and I forget what they're called it, but it's one of those wine brands that gets produced like counterfeit a lot because they're a lot of the wine bottles you can only get it from Penfolds.
Knockoff wine?
They do. So they literally have.
Imagine if you spent $400 on a bottle of vodka.
No, literally they busted a warehouse with all knockoff Penfolds. Just, I want that job. Let me pour me a cup.
Well, unlike, you know, the rest of Australia, whose wine industry was influenced by the Brits, I mean, because, you know, they really just sunk their claws
You know, they
Really
really
sound their
into every aspect of life, but that's fine. But this Barossa Valley actually benefited from the German immigrants who came over and really settled and took over those vines. So we currently have it in our glass right now, and let's just take a little sniff. So this region is really notable This region is really notable for their food because they've, you know, kind of been overshadowed by their wine. Now their food industry is sort of booming. There's bakeries that produce a lot of German breads and pastries, and also butchers who produce meat in the same way, in the same style as German butchers.
Yes. So get you a little German treat and
Yeah.
wine. Barossa, baby.
And remember, what grows together goes together. So if it's in that region and they're producing this type of wine, you might want to try this wine with some German food. Just try it out. Just try it out. I don't know.
So Brett.
So this wine is super dark, super dark red, purpley.
So definitely on the nose, I'm getting like very much black currant. If you've ever had Ribena, you know.
I'm getting licoricey too.
I'm getting more licoricey.
And that's kind of where that's the same, because in Ribena
Family
it's sort of
of-
licoricey as well.
Yeah. Definitely black currant. That's like really overtaking it for me.
And it's really floral as well.
Yeah.
Which is lovely.
I'm getting some plum or maybe blackberry. Just a licorice, like a dark, warm fruit is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is definitely a wine that you're gonna want to chill for a little bit.
Should we give it a taste?
Let's give it a taste.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers.
This is a red blend. So this is Shiraz, Grenache, and Merlot, which is an interesting blend.
Yeah.
Maybe y'all can
You
tell.
said Shiraz, Grenache, and Merlot.
Yes.
Yes, so it's most heavily blended with Shiraz. So very tannic to me. I don't know how y'all feel, how it's on that mouth feel. But it is very smooth and very nice, but it is tannic at the end.
Yeah,
It's
it's
very,
not.
but it has this after birth, if you.
An oaky afterburn, if you will.
Oh my god, I'm gonna choke.
That like leaves your tongue kind of like tingling a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like not very acidic, but it is very drying at the back end. I agree.
Yeah.
On the back end.
On the back end. Okay. So this baby was oaked, and I kind of this wine was oaked in both French and American, so a blend of French and American oak, and those are two very different flavor profiles.
Yeah.
And it says that it was oaked for 12 months. However, they did take 10% of their blend and did it in still fermentation and then added it back in. So it's I think like I can taste those flavors being balanced out. Yeah, like it does taste very peppery, very tobacco-y, like the darker reds, but there's something smooth about it.
Yeah, put a blunt in my hand and the tobacco will really come out. So Barossa Valley is so large in its wine production that actually most of its residents work in the wine industry, which is very exciting because at the end of the day, like walking around and being able to see the progress happen, then becomes part of the culture. And I think that was what we really saw in Napa Valley.
Yeah.
That winemaking is so much part of the culture. And yeah, at the end of the day, you know, Barossa Valley is a little bit different in the fact that they probably have Australians working, but we really owe Napa Valley workers, you know, the Mexican community really comes out in droves to work in wineries, and we owe a lot of the wine that we're able to enjoy to the Mexican community. So I just want to point that out. Because
Yes.
none of
And
people-
especially a few years down the road when you're drinking that 2020, because
when you're
Literally,
drinking that
they were
2020.
out there literally.
So it is very exciting that Barossa Valley has its own tenants, you know, working the land and being part of the production. It's such a community that I just love.
we love it.
So Barossa Valley has some of the oldest Shiraz vines in the world. They actually started planting as early as 1847 by Johann Friedrich Fiedler.
Ooh, that's a German ass.
German ass name.
Yeah, so many of the vines in the Barossa Valley are very old, aging decades from 100 to 150 years, majority. So once they get this age, they really produce less because, you know, a lot of their nutrients have gone. So that combined with their dry season leads to a lot of dryland farming. Dryland farming consists of a few different techniques. Some of them are, you know, creating larger spaces in between the vines so that more water can get into the banks and that the roots can get more water. They also, like, you know, heavily weed the de-weed the vines so that they make sure that none of the weeds are taking up the nutrients of those. Dryland farming is most popular in places that experience like a cool, wet season. So it does rain a lot in Australia's winter, which is our summer. And then when it comes around to their summer, they have quite a dry summer, hence dryland farming.
Let's have a thinker. What would you personally pair it with?
I would pair this with something spicy and savory.
Okay.
I really like big, and this is not very acidic, which is why I say like maybe she could stand up to a spicy food. We've always said in our past videos, and this is just rule of thumb, you want to match the intensity of your wine to the intensity of your food. So I just have to, you know, be careful, but I think that's what I would do. Savory, a little bit of spicy.
I think I would go for like a rack of lamb. I think it would go really, really well with this. And also, if you want to think about, if you are not really sure of what the hell to put with your wine, just look up things in that area that either grow or animals that they, you know, tend to go for. But there's a bunch of different resources that you can use to determine kind of what flavors would go together. And at the end of the day,
It's what you like.
if you open a bottle of wine and you make some food, girl, you're gonna eat it together.
It's gonna go.
If you open up your $60 bottle of wine and you eat some top ramen, that's your business.
That's your business.
That's your business and your money.
What would you go for, Sim?
I'd say I think it would go really nicely with some sort of like Asian style salmon, something that's been wood fired, has a little bit of that, you know, crisp on the bottom, and is like
Are
has
we
that
gonna
smoky taste.
buy a wood burning oven? Is that what you're suggesting?
Do you think it would fit? Right?
Just when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's some holiday.
Alright. Well,
All right, y'all. Listen, thank you so much to everyone that supported our GBD treats.
yes.
We're probably gonna do some more in the future.
Oh,
More in the future.
But thank y'all so mucho.
If you didn't get a chance in the new year,
You snooze, you lose.
we'll be rolling. In the new year, we will be rolling out some new treats, as well as some of the favorites that were featured on the holiday.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Also, when we ask you questions, fucking answer.
Answer
please.
them.
Okay, talk to me. Shit.
It's fine. I won't call you out. You should want me to.
All right. Well, let us know what wine you're drinking, or if you just drinking, baby. Cheers, y'all.